What's up? You found yourselves locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on today's episode, we got to break down a very ugly loss to the Indiana Pacers from Monday night. Bulls looking to bounce back Wednesday against the Rockets. Some interesting takeaways from that game. Some interesting post-game thoughts from Bulls head coach Billy Donovan. We've also got a couple of updates on both Nikola Vucevic and Alex Caruso as far as whether they will play on this little two-game road trip coming up the back end of the week. That's all ahead on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome into Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host, Mr. Big Dave Watson, at BAWL, BAWL Sports. You can follow us at Locked On Bulls. You could also shoot us a text or leave us a voicemail at 331-979-1369 for our weekly mailbag episodes. And we thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Big Dave, weird morning for Chicago sports fans. Yeah. And I'm glad that it's not the Bulls causing all this drama. Matt Nagy, will he, won't he be fired, keep his job? Bulls fans chanting fire Nagy at the UC on Monday night. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. It says a lot that they can't even do this right. You know, Matt, you can't even fire somebody correctly. Now that this has come out, I fear this means he'll be there till the end of the season. It's just, you know what? I don't even want to get into it. It's sad.
No,
we have to deal with it again on Thursday, and yeah, it's just sad, man.
We do not have time for the Bears incompetence here on Locked On Bulls. Nope. If you are looking for some great Bears coverage, though, part of the Locked On podcast family and the Chicago network, go check out Lauren Cox and Locked On Bears. He does a great job with that podcast if you want to know what's going on in Crazy Town at Hallis Hall. All right. We have a bad loss against the Pacers to break down, Dave. But before that, though, we wanted to spend the first couple of minutes kind of pitching this fun thing that we're doing to our listeners. You may have started to see a couple of tweets flying around about this over the last few days. It is the brainchild of our good friend, Mr. C. Red Fred himself, host of the Big Red Bus podcast and Chicago Bullseye, who we just saw last weekend watching the Bulls Nuggets game. This is an event called Bulls Podcastapalooza, and it is happening at a Windy City Bulls home game on December 11th. That is the Windy City Bulls versus the Sioux Falls Skyforce at their home arena, the Now Arena out in Hoffman Estates in the suburbs. And yourself, myself, and a whole host of other podcast hosts will be joining us to do like a halftime roundtable. Should be fun, man.
Should be a lot of fun. A lot of these podcasts, we just know, from Twitter. A lot of them we haven't met in person, but we just know who they are. And we've spoken to them on several occasions. I know Buzz will be there. No, a guy from Bulls Scripted, Salim from Bulls Gold will be representing, and a few others. It's slipping my mind, but we will.
Matt Gentile from Rebuildable Podcast.
Oh, Matt, my man.
Laro from Bulls 101. Our guy C Dub, who is your partner with the BAWL on Bulls podcast, as well as C Red Fred. So yeah, should be really fun. And tickets are available. I'm going to share the link to tickets for this in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the video description. And then also if you're listening on your podcast feed, I'll put it in the episode description on the podcast feed as well. And here's the best part. It's a $20 ticket, Dave. I know
nothing, Matt.
Bulls tickets ain't cheap. Know? And look, at least now there's a team that's worth paying to see at the United Center. But this Windy City Bulls team is pretty fun. You got to assume by that point, December 11th. Caruso will be back. Vuce will be back. So you're probably going to get to see Dotson, who's been tearing it up for the Windy City Bulls this season. The kid who we saw his first real Bulls action on Monday night, Marko Simonovic, he'll probably be playing in that game. So join us if you want to hang out with me, Big Dave, and this huge crew of Bulls podcast family members. Join us at the Windy City Bulls Sioux Falls game, December 11th at Now Arena in Hoffman Estates. Tickets are available, and like I said, I'll throw that link in there. Big Dave, my only issue with this is that C-Red Fred has tabbed himself to be the moderator of this whole event. That means things could escalate and get out of hand real quickly.
Very quickly. I expect them to. I expect there to be some questions that I don't like, such as, will you trade so-and-so for so-and-so? I can't stand those questions. I expect those to be there. And I expect me to make sure that this goes off the rails, because I will not follow protocol at all. I'm pretty certain of it. So come watch it. It'll be fun. It's going to be a good time, guys. You get your ticket. Along with that, you get to watch us at halftime, and you get a scarf with that too, because it's going to be chilly. So, you get some free things, free swag with that too, guys. So, yeah, come check it out. It's cheaper than parking at the UC.
Seriously.
So,
a $20 ticket to see some fun G League basketball and a halftime podcast roundtable with us and a whole bunch of other Bulls podcast people. If you listen to this podcast, you probably also listen to those, so you know exactly who we're talking about, and we're all going to be there. You should too. Come out and join us. It'll be fun. All right. So, next item on the agenda, Big Dave, we do have some updates with Vooch and Alex Caruso. Now, Vooch obviously did not travel on the West Coast road trip, and the good news is he did rejoin the team for their back-to-back home games against the Knicks and the Pacers. Didn't dress, but he was with the team. Billy Donovan informs us after the Pacers game that Vooch will travel with the team to their games for Houston on Wednesday and then Orlando on Friday. Still questionable. Officially today, again, listed as questionable whether or not Vooch will be available to play in those games. But you got to assume that the fact that he's even joining the team on that road trip is a good sign, yeah?
Oh, it's a great sign, Matt. You wouldn't even send him on that trip if there wasn't a possibility that he would be playing. You know what I'm saying? You would still be leaving him at home after dealing with what he dealt with. But when I saw him on the sideline Sunday, everything went up for me after that. I was like, okay, well, perfect. He is right on track. He is right on mark with where he should be. And I'm just wanting him to be back for Saturday. That's really all I care about. Just be back for Saturday and I will be fine. So maybe get you a tune-up game, within that, which whether it's the Rockets or it's against the Magic. And I'm sure he wants to play against the Magic. You know what I'm saying? It's his team, that he went up against. I'm sure he wants to be ready for that kind of game. So I'm assuming he's going to play in that game and get his tune-up going, and then we'll get ready for the big one.
Yeah, I really, really hope that he's playing at least on Friday, if not Wednesday. Like you said, I'm sure he wants to play against his former team. And if we have to sit there and listen to like the Wendell stands come out, we're like, oh, look at it. If Wendell has like a classic Wendell game of like 12-10, and we're like, oh man, Vooch isn't even playing. Or I guess the worst case scenario is Vooch comes back, he's a little rusty and has a so-so game, and like Wendell goes off. Then we're gonna have to listen to all that nonsense from all these idiot Bulls fans.
Matt, ask me what Wendell is averaging this year.
What's he averaging, Dave?
12-9.
Hey, man! For all
you're good.
I've seen so many. Look how well Wendell is playing tweets this season. What? 12-9?
12-9, man.
Of course he is.
12-9.
Of course he
12-9.
is.
That's what he is. It's still 12-9.
There is also some update on Caruso. We'll get to that in just a minute, because his presence was, or his lack of presence was certainly felt against the Pacers on Monday. Before we do that, though, Big Dave, why don't you tell the people how they can help themselves, help their business with this little thing called Shopify?
Oh, I would love to. Listen, guys, I understand you got your business started. It's a lot going on. So I know one thing you don't want to do is stuff. You don't want to do more stuff. Well, I can tell you about one thing that will help take a lot of that off of your plate. It is called Shopify. It's a subscription based software that allows anyone to set up an online store to sell their products. Shopify store owners can also sell physical locations using Shopify POS, our point of sale app, and accompanying hardware. It's here to help you with your sales, y'all. Because I know you don't want to go hand to hand talking to people. No, you just want to set it up simply, bring them to your website, and be able to get your product out to everybody and then go to bed. Now, this is how you make money in your sleep. All right. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big businesses. So, startups, upstarts, established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Scaling your business is a journey of endless possibilities, y'all. That sounds like a song. And Shopify helps you make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. That's Hall and Oates. Oh, so go to shopify.com/locked on NBA. And that's all lowercase. All right. Locked on NBA is all lowercase for a free 14-day trial. I didn't say 7. I said free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. You can grow your business with Shopify today. Just go to that site, y'all. Shopify.com/locked on NBA right now. You want me to say it again? Well, I will. Shopify.com/locked on NBA. Get your business together.
All right, Big Dave. So the other player whose status for this little 2-game trip is up in the air would be Mr. Caruso, the bald-headed, headband-wearing Mamba himself, who was sorely missed in this game against the Pacers. I don't think his absence alone was the root cause of this loss, and Billy Donovan said as much himself after the game. But you certainly felt that lack of defensive intensity from the Bulls out of the gate, and that's certainly what Caruso we've gotten used to him bringing, and swapping in Kobe for Caruso is certainly a step down defensively. That being the case, what we have heard is that this was a wrist injury he initially sustained at some point on that West Coast trip, and then re-aggravated in the game against the Knicks on Sunday. And it may have even been that very play where he had the cojones to step in and take a charge on a play when he was playing with 5 fouls. And that was still with, lots of time left in a game that was yet to be decided. He did eventually foul out of that game, but it was when he took a hard fall on that charge where he re-aggravated this wrist injury. The Bulls said that he was to have an MRI to see if there was any damage that they would need to be made aware of, but that Billy Donovan did not think it was a serious injury and that they were, just doing the MRI for precautionary reasons. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have seen anything, I have not seen anything from the Bulls over the last 24 hours detailing the results of said MRI that he theoretically had at the beginning of this week. So he, like Vooch, is listed as questionable for Wednesday night against the Rockets. I don't really know what to say there, other than you hope the MRI, came back negative across the board and then he's back in the lineup on Wednesday. But that seems to be about all we know right now.
Yeah, and I guess you have to go off that. And I guess the reason I'm not worried about it is because he aggravated it on the road trip, but continued to play. And it just seems like this is the right time for him to take that break and for him to get that rest when you're going up against, you knew it was a back-to-back against the Pacers, all right? And then you got the Rockets, and then you got the Magic. So this is the right time because honestly, guys, they haven't had time for anybody to take a real rest and heal up some of those injuries and things like that because we just went through the gauntlet. So I feel like this is the appropriate time for him to take this time, Matt. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't seem like it was something that was, inhibiting him from playing. You know what I'm saying? Stopping him from getting out there and performing. But it's something that's like, you know what? Just get a rest, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to hurt yourself any further on this. Take a rest, relax. We understand how important you are. Chill out, and we'll check you out again on Saturday. Yes, I'm going to keep referencing Saturday because it is very important everybody is there for Saturday.
So, hopefully Caruso's back in the fold before too long. The Bulls certainly needed every minute from him while they were dealing with the fact that Kobe was out to start the season. And, even though it's front court and Alex isn't necessarily a front court guy, you're down P. Will early, then you're without Vooch. But guess what? Caruso was playing power forward minutes. So, he's needed and he's missed, and will be missed as long as he's out. But not only the Caruso thing, to me, that was the nail in the coffin. Even looking ahead to this game against the Pacers, I was feeling a trap game coming on. I don't know about you, because the Bulls were coming in the second night of a back-to-back. They had to expend a lot of energy to beat that Knicks team on Sunday. They came home tired from a 5-game trip, and the Knicks played them tough. They played them physical. That's going to happen. You're playing a Tom Thibodeau coach team. So your second night of a back-to-back, Pacers rested. The other interesting wrinkle that I saw somebody was talking about, I can't remember who, that the Pacers' previous game, they kind of played like crap. And Rick Carlisle let them know, and even went so far as to bench some of his key starters early in the third quarter. He pulled a Boylan and benched his starters and said, y'all need to be better. So the Pacers were rested and pissed. Whereas the Bulls are not rested and exhausted and okay, it's the Pacers. We just beat the Knicks. We got up big for that one. This was their 7th game in 10 days, Dave.
Listen, if you didn't see this L coming, I don't know what to tell you. I saw this coming a mile away. I knew they were losing this game. Like Matt said, you're coming off that gauntlet, that West Coast trip, and then you're coming off of playing the Knicks, who are always going to be physical, all right? And you're missing Vooch, and he's gone. And you're playing against a physical team. Caruso's playing power forward against Julius Randle, all right? These guys are physical. You got Noel out there. There's Noel out there doing this thing. They are a physical team, and the Bulls, Knicks are always going to be like that, right, Matt? They're always going to be that physical kind of matchup. And then you're like, whoo, got that win, went through that gauntlet. All right, so we get a break? Nope, we got to play the Pacers. Oh, they're also big and tall and physical. Yeah, I think we're going to take a day off on this one. It looked like that. From the opening tip, it was over. I saw it, man. I watched it. As soon as I saw Justin Holiday hit that first three, I was like, nope, not going to be today. And then he hits the second three.
Bulls legend Justin Holiday getting his revenge game.
Right. And it was the way he hit those three. I was like, oh, no, it ain't happening. And then I saw Karis LeVert just hit a prayer. You know what I'm saying? With the shot clock running down. All this in the first quarter. Yeah. I'm looking at that, and I said, you know what? Take a break, Bulls. Immediately I said take a break, and I pretty much was out of that game by the second half. I was like, this is over. This is done. And then watching Kobe White get dunked on by some opponents and stuff like that. But, guys, yeah, I knew this L was coming. The only positive I have for this, Matt, was guys got to rest, because I was really concerned about DeRozan and Zach not getting any rest and things like that. They both played about 25, 26 minutes. Right. Cool. You know what I mean? Relax, get your rest in, guys. We knew this L was coming. We knew it was coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that simple. You mentioned the physicality of the Knicks team, but the Pacers also a big physical team. Miles Turner, Sabonis, imposing their will, and obviously just destroying the Bulls on the glass. That'll happen on night when the Bulls have no legs and are undersized.
Right.
59-38 was the rebounding edge for the Pacers. They also blocked 12 of the Bulls' shots. 12 blocks. It was just a bad, ugly night, and it didn't help that the Bulls, didn't shoot the ball at all. Oh, no. The Bulls shot 36% from the field, 21% from downtown. Kobe was 2 of 10 after his strong game against the Knicks. Lonzo 0 of 7. What are you supposed to do? It's a dud of a game, and you scrap it, you move on. I think also that anybody, not to assume the Bulls were taking the Pacers lightly, but maybe some Bulls fans being like, so it's a back-to-back, so what? This Pacers team stinks.
No.
Whereas I was not very high on this Pacers team coming into the season, in the sense that some people were like, oh, yeah, the Pacers, they're going to be better than the Bulls for sure. I was like, not so fast. However, I do certainly think they were better than their record coming into this
Yeah,
game.
no
And
question.
they, like Milwaukee, like a lot of teams, were a team missing several key pieces out of the gate this season. And that was a big part of their slow start, I think. But they had all of their complementary pieces in this game. They had Sabonis and Turner. They had Karis LeVert. They had Brogdon. They had their full arsenal. And guess what? All 5 of their starters were double figures at halftime. This game was over at halftime. But again, that's okay. You should have seen that coming.
Yeah, you had to see that coming from a mile away. And you're right, Matt. This is a team whose record I looked at, and I'm just like, no, that's not them. Because even though I feel the Bulls are better than them, I'm like, yeah, but not like this much better. You know what I'm saying? Like the Pacers aren't trash. This is a good physical basketball team. Sabonis is an all-star. Miles Turner is the truth. The fact that he added a 3-point shot to his game makes him even more scary. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what he can do around the rim. Quit going in for layups around Miles Turner. Or dunk the ball, guys. It has to be dunked or it will be thrown into the stands. That's Miles Turner guarantee. And guys have always known I've always had a deep, deep love for Karis LeVert. I love Karis LeVert's game, man. I loved it in when he was with the Nets. I thought it was a good move for him to get to the Pacers, man. He's awesome. If he can stay healthy, he is awesome. Malcolm Brogdon, another guy who is always under the radar. But every season, man, it just feels like he's getting 20 and 8. You know what I'm saying? Averaging. It just feels like that when you're watching Malcolm Brogdon. And it feels like that because he does do that. That's what he does. So, and then adding a good coach like Rick Carlisle to it, the Pacers are a problem. So, yeah, they dealt with injuries and things like that. But, yeah, coming into this game, it went exactly like I thought it would go. Like, I really couldn't have scripted it, you know what I'm saying, even better than what I thought it would be. I was like, they're going to get their ass whooped because they're tired. And they're undermanned and they're undersized and the Pacers are huge and physical.
Right.
And after listen, this would be different if it was the playoffs or something. You're playing the same team 7 games. You know what to expect these games. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is like that. But this, Matt, just after the gauntlet they ran and everything like that, I expected one of these games to happen. And I'm glad it happened when I thought it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, cool. They exhausted everything against that Knicks team, man. All of it. All right. They gave all they had. Your backcourt goes 2 for 17. No, sir. Not gonna do it that way, buddy. Somebody's a turd and tired. You know what I'm saying? So, and Kobe is the one starting in his 5th game, 4th or 5th game, and he's out in the starting lineup. Hey, man, yeah, this is what you're gonna get.
None of that added up to anything good for the Bulls. And, if you didn't see that coming, I open up your eyes. Like, I confidently put money on the Bulls to lose that game. Yeah. I wish I had put money on the Bulls to lose that game by 20 plus because that's how badly I anticipated that game going. But either way, it was free money. All right, we've got a few more things to get to in this game, including some Billy Donovan post-game comments and looking at how the Bulls have bounced back after losses so far this season. But Big Dave, what's worse than free money is wasting money.
Oh, I hate it.
Question for you. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam out to get you. That's right. You. Out to get you. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download Truebill to take control of your subscriptions. Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot existed. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. That's a lot of dough. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your account to Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one simple tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Nope. Truebill has over 2 million users and helps save them over $100 million, Dr. Evil style. So don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now. Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Speaking of saving money, Big Dave. Car parts. People need them.
Look, Matt, when you want to save that money and you just save that money right there with Truebill and you save you about $700 plus, all you need to do, the next thing you need to do is take care of your vehicle. Winter is here, y'all. It is time to winterize and take care of your car. And the best way to do it is to hit up our people at Rock Auto. Save your time, save your money. All right. Why spend 30, 50, 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership? You don't even have to go in there, man. Save your time, save your money, and also save yourself from being really cold by going outside and then going to the dealership. Stay home, stay warm, and just use rockauto.com. Here's an example for you. Honda Odyssey fuel pump, $353 from the chain store. At rockauto.com, y'all, $216. You go ahead and you save that money. All right. Reliably low prices for every single customer. Family-owned business serving the do-it-yourselfers over 20 years. Brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, fuel pumps, new carpet, whatever you need, Rock Auto has it. So what you do is you go to rockauto.com. You see all the parts that's available for your cool car or your awesome truck, and you write locked on in there. How did you hear about us section? That's locked on. Write that in there. How did you hear about us section? So they know my man Matt Peck and myself sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Say it with me while you're saving money one time. RockAuto.com. Say that money.
Beautiful. We need a Big Dave versus Stacy sing-a-thon competition of some kind.
Oh man, we need a duet. I don't want to go against the king. Put me on the king team, baby.
Make it a duet then.
Make it a duet.
All right. So I after that game was mercifully over, was like, that's a game where you just say, all right, scrap the tape, to hell with it. We all knew that this was going to be a bad night. This is a schedule loss. Billy Donovan, after the game, kind of echoed the opposite sentiment. And here's what he said, Dave. I want to get your thoughts on this because I thought it was interesting. What we learned from this and how we respond to this is important. I've never been a big believer in just flush the game. It didn't happen. No, it did happen, and we've got to own it. There is a standard and expectation we expect to play to, end quote. What do you think about that, Dave?
I mean, I can't say that I hate it. You know what I'm saying? I like that ideology because even though we sat here and we said we expected it and we thought that that's how it's going to go, the coach of the team is like, I don't want it to go like that. And I don't think it should be expected. I like that mentality. And the reason I like it because it's a winning mentality. That means he wants to win every single game that they play. And he doesn't want guys to just be resting on the fact that they're resting on their record, I should say, and things like that. Like, okay, you're good. You're third, in the power rankings, guys are looking at you. You might feel like you deserve a break. Nope, you got a game tonight. Sorry. You ain't getting that. See, what I like about it too, though, Matt, is he doesn't want that, but at the same time, he can kind of feel how the game is going. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like he knows how it's going right there. He knew how it was going, and that's why he said, DeMar, Zach, y'all good. Nah, come on, sit over here. Have a seat right here. No, Caruso, I know it's a back-to-back. Take a seat. Go in and relax, and you're hurt right now. So at that same time, he knows that these players needed that rest, and these guys need to sit down. They need to relax. But, of course, he doesn't want to lose every game, and he doesn't want guys to get complacent with that. And I like that ideology in him, man. That is a winning attitude, honestly.
Yeah, and I think, I'm with you in that he is right to say that. And Levine said after the game, take it as a learning experience, watch the film, we'll play them again, then get ready for Houston. So, and yes, that's true. Not only will you play them again, you'll see them again several more times because this is a Central Division opponent that you just lost to. And so while the next time you play the Pacers, you might have Vooch back, assuming, hopefully you got Vooch back. You'll have Caruso at your disposal. You'll have more pieces, but you can still learn some things about this team that you're going to play several more times. And you're trying to keep at bay to stay above them in the standings, not only in the East, but in your own division. So good for Billy for saying that because it's clearly something that his players are like, yeah, no, we're not going to just flush that. We're going to look at what we did poorly and we're going to respond. And that, of course, is the next big question. How will the Bulls respond? Not just when they play the Pacers again, but in their very next game. Because Big Dave, 5 losses before their loss to the Pacers on Monday night. The Bulls were 4-1 in the games coming off of those 5 losses. The only back-to-back losses thus far this season being the 2 games against the Sixers. And Casey Johnson had these numbers. I thought this was interesting. In those 4 games that the Bulls have won coming off of losses, DeMar's averaging 30.3. Levine's averaging 28.8. The Bulls are averaging 21.5 points off of their opponents' turnovers, and they have held 3 of those 4 opponents under 40% shooting from the field. So, I mean, those numbers right there tell me that Billy Donovan has been good at getting his guys to respond after losses so far this season with DeMar, Zach, do your thing. Everybody else, all hands on deck, especially on defense.
You know what I was thinking of when you were saying that, just to add to the winning mentality here, is Golden State Warriors. I watched them when they played Cleveland, and, you know, Steph Curry had that amazing fourth quarter, and they came back and exerted a lot of energy, you know, doing that. The very next game, Matt, they played the Detroit Pistons, and they rested everybody. They sat everybody down. Everybody got to sit down. Golden State still won that game. Jordan Poole, I believe he had 30-something points, 32 points or something like that. My point I'm saying is, even though they took everybody out of that game, the fan base and people around him might have been like, yeah, I expect them to lose this game because nobody's playing. Golden State didn't feel that way. Golden State players said, nope, we're going to take this. We're going to try to get this win. We're going to put in effort to get this win. So that's why I like Billy Donovan saying that, Matt, because honestly, that's the same kind of winning attitude. He doesn't want guys to get complacent just because you don't have everything out there. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be out here competing and trying, you know, winning this game and things like that. Now, I still believe that this was the game that they were going to lose. Like, I still believe that. Right. I saw it. I was like, nope, they're going to take this ass whooping because they tired and they're gassed and they're undersized. But the fact Billy Donovan is trying to drill in their head, none of that matters. You need to go out there and play, because you know who don't care? The Indiana Pacers. They do not care about none of that. They are trying to win, all right? So you should be trying to do the same thing. I like that ideology. And like you said, I like what Zach LaVine said also. We're going to see these guys again. So I don't want them to forget it. Hopefully when they play them again, we'll see a whole different kind of Bulls mentality out there.
Yeah. You know, and much in the same light, like as you just said, even people looking at it kind of saw it as a loss that was coming. Billy said, you know, that doesn't make it okay. Zach said it doesn't make it okay. Move on. However, I can forgive that loss to the Pacers easily because of all of the context that we have covered here. What you can't do is let that rope slip a little further and assume that you're going to go into Houston and beat the Rockets by 30, because that team is, yes, a 1-win team so far. They have lost 15 games in a row. That's impressive. I don't even know if you know who's Bulls over the course of his season and a half at the helm managed a 15-game losing streak. That's a lot. That's a lot of consecutive losing. It's okay. I didn't say his name.
All right.
That is a trap game that you absolutely are not allowed to get trapped into. Because look, the Rockets have some interesting young talent. You know, all of those first-round picks from this previous draft, and some of them look pretty good. Some of them look interesting. You know, Jalen Green looks absolutely ridiculous. Yes. But what they are not is a winning ball club right now. So you need to respond in the way that you have responded in all but one of your games coming off a loss and knock the poop out of that team.
Absolutely, Matt. Take all the frustration you got from this loss against the Pacers, take that rest, go down there and put your foot right between the buttocks of the Houston Rockets. You should whoop them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should beat this team. Not only, like Matt said, are they a team that's lost 15 straight, that a very, 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 very young team. You know what I'm saying? And the Bulls are not. This is an experienced team. So I expect the Bulls go in and put those clamps on them. You know what I'm saying? Let guys do their thing. These are the games, Matt, where where those star players, these are where they have their games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is where you'd be like, he had 55 tonight. He hit 12 threes. You know why I know this? Because it used to be us that teams would do this to.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I know this. I watched it. All right. So I think the Bulls have that opportunity going up against a team like Houston to have one of those games. So I would like to see that. I'd like to see Zach, whoever wants to have that game for the Bulls. I think I would like to see that, you know what I'm saying, happen for them. But yeah, they should go in there and be thinking about running this team right off the floor.
And, I think a lot of that will start on the defensive end.
No question.
I guarantee you Billy is going to make that an emphasis on a night when you don't have your legs because you just exhausted yourself the night prior beating Tibbs' Knicks. You weren't expecting to see locked in high intensity defense from the Bulls. I certainly wasn't expecting to see that on Monday, and we didn't. Their rotations were sloppy and slow. Nobody was giving that extra effort, and certainly, of course, Caruso's absence added to that problem. But the Bulls, with, in these wins coming off of losses, as Casey noted those stats, 21.5 points off of their opponents' turnovers in those games, holding opponents to very, very low field goal percentage, getting out and scoring easy buckets. The Bulls only had 7 fast break points against the Pacers. That is a big part of this Bulls team's identity, is suffocating defense and turning that into easy offense. That is a big part of what this Bulls team has done so far this season. It has been a big part of their success so far this season. So you're coming off a game where you only scored 77 points. 77. It was the first time this season the Bulls had been held below 90, let alone held below 80. So you know what the Bulls' goal should be on Wednesday against the Rockets? It shouldn't be scoring 130. It should be holding the Rockets to 65. Make that your goal coming into Wednesday. This team is young. They're inexperienced. They don't know how to play together. They don't know how to win. Like what's his name in Remember the Titans? Not Denzel, but his assistant coach character. I don't want him to gain another yard. That's the Bulls defense I want to see on Wednesday.
Hey, I felt that in that movie. I don't know why. Of all the things he said in that movie, I don't know why, but that hit me in the chest when he said that. I don't want that team to gain another yard. Yeah. Like, you're damn right. Go get them, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Ryan Gosling, get out there.
It'll get you amped up. Get you amped up.
Get you amped up.
Gosling can't guard for shit. He can't cover.
Fair enough. That's why down on FaceTime.
Petey took his spot, and rightfully so.
And rightfully so, man. And I appreciate the coach not holding that grudge the entire time, letting Petey go in there and get that game because he knew that was important. So yeah. Oh man, we don't want to get on Meeting the Titans talk right now.
We can talk forever about Remember the Titans. We got to get out of here. But yeah, like we said before, if you're also a Bears fan wondering what the hell's going on in your world right now, check out Locked On Bears with Lauren Cox. We are Locked On Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. If you enjoyed today's show, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's episode. And subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also, if you want to be a part of the show, hit us up on that text to voicemail line for our weekly mailbag episodes. That number is 331-979-1369. We'll be back tomorrow with another fresh episode for you, getting you ready for Bulls and Rockets. And Big Dave, I think we might have a fun little guest on deck tomorrow.
I don't know why, but I think this is gonna be necessary.
Bring the neuralizer, Dave. Our guest might need it. I might need it. We'll see.
Yeah, we all might need it.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow for a fresh Locked On Bulls, everybody. Until then, for Dave, I'm Matt saying thanks as always for listening and watching. See Red, be good.